right?
Change Emily for a ring.
Who would you?
How did you find it?
How did you?
How did you find it? How did you find them? He thought it was Emily and brought it. He thought it was Emily. Really? Didn't we practice that before?
Action. Good luck, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, welcome to Amsterdam. Welcome to Team Amsterdam. I'm Sarah Nguyen. This is Frank Van Hatteren. This is a couple Andre Oppina, and Andre Manta. Today, I hope you are prepared to hear about exciting projects we have worked on the last 2 months, Project Breadcrumbs. So, as you know, city of Amsterdam is a great city. It is also a very busy city. With 800,000 inhabitants every day, there's a huge amount of traffic in the city center. And this amount of traffic also generates a huge amount of data. And the city wants to use this traffic data to make transportation more efficient. The vision of the city is to have an open data flow from the city to the citizens via developers and companies. However, the current situation is rather disappointing. There's a lack of communication channel between the city via developers to citizens, and the city has to pay a lot of money for companies to obtain traffic data from the citizens. Our challenge is to bridge the gap between current and future scenarios. Find a solution that helps the city to use and collect data to benefit citizens and the city. We have been through a long and hard quest to find a solution, and we found the solution that rooted hundreds of years ago under the deep forest of Brother Grimm's fairy tale, breadcrumbs. In the modern time, people also leave breadcrumbs where they walk, just via a smartphone. We want to use these trails of breadcrumbs to solve the challenge. Imagine you can share your experience, relive your memories, and discover exciting places while making transportation more efficient. How are we going to do that?
Thank you. So, if people leave breadcrumbs while they walk, there's at least 3 parties who benefit from that. First of all, citizens of Amsterdam, but also tourists who visit the city, can make more of their daily experiences, and we're going to show you how. So this is a regular day in the life of Martin. What Martin does is he collects his breadcrumbs for using the mobile app you could see in the beginning, and then he can access it via a web interface, which you can see in the screenshot. And what he gets there is his trips he does. So you can see the breadcrumbs here, and we also add the speed, for example, and the means of transport he uses. But the question is not so much where did you go, but it is really about how did you experience it. So here you see that you can select trips by using filters. And here you see that geotagged photos are added to the trips where they belong, for example. We are also interested in did you get a phone call while you were walking around, or did somebody text you, so with whom did you interact here? And think of the impact the weather has on the trips. Or maybe about how it changes your perception if you listen to a song while you're going somewhere. And all of these things, we gather them in the breadcrumbs, and then that really conveys the true experience of what you had that day. So first of all, it helps you to relive your memories. So it's like a photo album, for example, but it fills the gaps between the photos. It adds a semantic layer to it. So you can really go through the full and true experience you had again. And then it's also there to share. So you can use Facebook, for example, and then you can share your trips. You can tell your friends about a nice weekend you had, or a trip to the sea, or whatever. And it's way more than only sharing photos. It's about really telling a true story to your friends. And well, the third thing is, if there's nothing you have to tell because your life is boring and you're catching routines, then breadcrumbs also helps you to discover new places. Because as it knows where you are going, it gets to know you. And then it can tell you about places that you might really like, and then you can go there, and then you can start experiencing things. And this is what breadcrumbs can do for the end users, and Andre is now going to tell you what it can do for the city.
So breadcrumbs generates a goldmine of location data, and we can use this location to make transportation more efficient. And for this we build a city plan, which is a powerful tool for making sense of all this data, and ultimately improve the city experience. So here in this first view, you can already see, because we use speed-based color coding, people moving slower in the city, in the center of the city than in the outskirts. But then you can zoom in, and for a specific area, see which streets are more congested than others. And you can filter out some of the means of transport. You can see what means of transport people are using on these streets. And you can identify dangerous places, like for instance here, where cyclists interact with cars a lot, and accidents can happen. But you can do much more than that. For instance, you might be interested in how the distribution of people changes during the 24-hour interval. So here you can see people going to work in the morning. And then later on, in the afternoon, more people are spending their time in the city center. And of course, late in the night, a few of our brave testers are still out there for research purposes. So the city planner really gives you new insight. It provides a bird's-eye view on how people interact with the city. But we're really only scratching the surface in terms of what can be done with this data. So besides observing bottlenecks and optimizing infrastructure and public transport, routes and schedule, you can imagine using statistical models to do predictions and to simulate emergencies, for instance, or events. Think of Queen's Day in Amsterdam.
Yes, thank you. Breadcrumbs doesn't stop here. Every time we talk to people within IBM to gather information, knowledge, they were, guys, great idea, powerful concept, but could you build this into your proof of concept? Could you build that? This is exactly what we want. We want people to be engaged with breadcrumbs. We want people to build on top of it, to think about what you can do more with it. We want them to app their idea. You might be wondering how and what types of ideas. So we have a developer API through which people can gain access to the breadcrumbs. And also, since I'll be giving 2 examples, since our main stakeholder is Department of Transportation of Amsterdam, we chose for a carpooling app. Breadcrumbs are already there, so it's as easy as just suggesting which cars to take. Also, a lot of people think about GPS as a really fun tool. They want to come up with new games. And one popular game in Germany, actually, is a scavenger hunt, where people hide a book, leave a breadcrumb behind, and other people have to find it, and then the process goes on and on. Looking back at our initial problem, breadcrumbs is the gap filler. It's the thing that creates the momentum in the data flow and keeps it going. I would like to thank you all for being here, and please don't forget, breadcrumbs, the best thing since sliced bread.